How did you first know you were an artist?
Oh, you know, it's one of those things that you find yourself in, and it's too late to pull out, you know.
Alex, is this the owl of Athena?
Yes, it is what the symbol of Athens, and Athena is the goddess and the protector of the city.
And you grew up there?
And I grew in Athens and I went to school there.
As I look at this is obviously specifically symbolic of Athens, but I look at this and an image of St. George and the Dragon isn't uniquely related to Greece or to Athens. And so I'm wondering how much your life in Athens influences what you do right now.
Well, the truth, Betty, is that I never really left. You know, geographically, I moved from location to location, but I think in many respects, I'm very connected, almost as connected as I was before I left, and maybe more so. This is the first time that I felt that these were issues that matter to me. I thought that the moment that the country was facing in terms of the economics, there was a major collapse of the economy. And so at that time, it was when I was discussing with a gallery having a show. And when we agreed to have the show, then everything began to be directed towards something that has to do with the place and time and the issues that maybe are. And those little slogans that come up, they are very much connected to the questions that I have as a citizen. I mean, often I wonder about the world that I live in, and if we're asking the right questions, if we really step up to the plate and say, I take responsibility, who's going to take care of this? But I don't want it to be didactic. I don't want it to hit anyone over the head. I want it to be more about the same elements that make any picture, which is color and texture and light, and maybe, you know, patterns. So this is a number of things that have taken place over a period of time. They're coming together, they group, then they fall apart again into other groupings. Eventually they find their place.
I've seen you arrange and rearrange these almost like the components of a Rubik's Cube, but if you're using narrative, you can't do that.
So this is done.
So it's done, so the narrative...
At some point, they do come together.
And how do you know when that completion has been achieved?
It's the same thing as when you fall in love. You've never planned on it. I mean, I'm working all the time, Betty. I come into the studio, I work with a hope that something is going to pop up. Just a matter of being there.
Being available.
That's right. So when it comes, you're there to see it. Otherwise, you will move to another place, somebody else will use it. So you have to be where the work takes place in order for you to amass all that you need to have. And so at the end of the day, there is a moment where you say, aha, this is really what I want to do with this piece. This is how that's going to close. So this is how the chapter is going to be completed. I have no idea what the next piece is going to be made to look like, because each and every one, when I come up with, I have to find a way to paint it. I don't go back to the way that I painted it the one before. And since the styles are so out there, there are so many.
Like an encyclopedia.
That's right, you can move in and select and use the same way that you pick up color, or you pick up texture, or you pick up whatever element that you're interested in. Equally, you can select a particular style, a graphic way of expressing what you have in mind.
And also multiple ways of signification, not just multiple painting styles, but, you know, from the absolutely abstract to the fairly abstract to the fairly representational to the symbolic. You're representing imagery and ideas in various visual languages and various painterly styles.
I don't want to feel that somehow I have to stay within a narrow spectrum as to what I could do. The question is always out there. How do you render, how do you express in the most effective way that which concerns you at this very moment?